I welcome Sai Praveen for this podcast, who is a community builder and a machine learning engineer who is working in a company or a firm called as Omdena, which is a kind of an NGO yet a company where I just want to demystify a lot of things what a community builder feels about the data science community today, and also a lot and lot of things where we have a lot of canonical problems statements in every field. Thus, I just want to make sure that I demystify a lot with Sai Praveen. Thank you so much for giving me this
Yeah,
podcast.
thanks a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks a lot, Vishwas, for the timing. And first of all, very happy New Year,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah. Thank
I
you.
really wish very, I really wish a prosperous and joyful year throughout the year. We already beaten Corona from last 1 year, and it survived. It's like it's like a new beginning, right? We never thought we was 1 year back. We never felt this way when it started, and we really thrived it for 1 year. There are so many losses too, but we learned a lot. And the only thing which keeps moving us is never giving up. Okay. So I really wish a very happy and prosperous year and be safe. Yeah. Yeah. And coming to
Praveen, bro, and also like just give a short intro of yourself for the
yeah.
podcast.
My full name is Sai Praveen. I work as around 6 years of experience in the field of software, and for last 5 years I'm working in the field of ML and all. Omena is like a new path for me. Like it's a different field, like where you use AI for the benefit of the human. So it's not like for any product or something else. And later now, recently I moved to data semantics where I'm working as a data scientist, and I work for Philips as our main client, and I'm basically into NLP here. Initially, I have some work experience in computer vision too, and it's a great learning. That's it from my side. Yeah, Vishwas, I think your voice is muted.
Oh, sorry. I know you have been working in the community for quite a while now, and everything is uh, in the way of getting your dreams true. Like you wanted to work in ML, and you've been also a part of the community. Yes, let's get the podcast started. Fine, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, we as a human being, we have never been told what is brain actually is also, and what is processor actually is also. We have never gone through everything which has been told for us, but yet we have a lot of differentiation where the system has to make, computer vision system has to work in a different fashion, NLP has to work in a different fashion because math differs there. I just wanted to give that difference what you have experienced throughout the year about the processor, brain, and and a system which is working in both computer vision and NLP. What's your view on the differences that you have seen today?
see, simply I can say that it's processor. The basic concept of processor is base of transition. Initially, it already in the earlier stage it started with transistor. When they created the transistor, then it has the capacity to retain the state. Then it got into memory, after memory, processing in memory, then RAM, ROM, storing data. From there, it actually evolved. So when you say a system, right, it's a systematic process. We know we design what will happen, what will not happen. We build the logic and we create the processing chip. If, for example, if you say any 8081 or a simple microprocessor, it has, for example, 32 pins, which pin is ground, which pin is input, active, which is buffer. So we built it. So we know the design, how it actually work. But when it comes to brain, right, it's a lot because I mean we already know that we don't use 100% capacity of our brain, but till from the old days, from the stone age, how much we far here now. We are only maybe using most intellectual people like Einstein or some people maybe using like 45 to 50% of the brain capacity. But when you see brain, we didn't explore it. So there is so much to learn, so much way to go more. And in the field of computer vision or NLP, when processing neurons are artificial, how exactly getting the intelligence is where the topic as for this year. So like how exactly machines understand things like how human brains do, by seeing things, how it will detect the objects, by listening, by voice, how it will understand the language. For having processing and all for last 3 years, 4 years, how exactly it will regenerate, evolve itself, reinforcement, how exactly it's going to evolve. Like, so basically, if you can see like a newborn baby, right? When it don't know anything, when they come into the world, they start seeing things. They hear, they listen, they understand, they process, and then they learn, they react, then they respond. It's a process, right? I think still AI is in like a 2 or 3 months old baby, which is still learning a lot to make it way better in the future.
Oh, I just wanted to ask you this one question: which is more harder? Is it the language or the vision? Because yes, you have been working in NLP for quite a while now, and also in computer vision. But which is much more harder to learn, and also which is more harder to deploy?
Um, Basically, really, as per the present technology, we really marked a good progress in computer vision. Like the systems which we are building, they are really accurate and they're predicting, they're understanding the object. There is somewhere where it is lacking when we change from a two-dimensional to a three-dimensional world. I mean, there is still some gap which has to be evolved. But when I compare computer vision with NLP, NLP has much more way to grow. Is still in a phasing like you can say still the machines are understanding the letters. It didn't went to the sentences or grammar or the context, whether he is expressing anger in the word, the stressness, like how humans talk, right? Like whether he's saying in a sweet way or harsh way, whether he is saying same sentence can be sound different context, the syntax or the environment, which like is still in the learning phase where I can say it's still understanding the letters. It didn't went to the sentences or the vocabulary. I mean, great thing that GPT-3 has gone evolved NLG, right? So I mean, still I didn't got the access. I'm just curious to wait and run it. But it's a can say it's a new field. It is not as evolved as computer vision. But as per learning, if you have the passion, you will definitely learn, right? It's not the complexity of anything, right? It's just which drives you. But for me, computer vision is like I can say it's my kickstart of my career or something. But NLP really changed my view of the AI. It drives, it passions me. How I mean, like I'm very curious how it will understand the language. So
Yeah. You have been working in the community for quite a while now. In Omdana, you're a community manager. What's that feeling that you get as soon as you work with the community? Like, are they really up to the mark, or what's your view on the community working as a force, and what are they going to be?
as for the when you say it's community, right? It's, I mean, the organizational structure is not like a project manager or a developer or some architecture. It's not like defined way. It's like everybody coming together, contributing whatever the knowledge they have, and solving the real world problems. Like we can say, I did project for Nepal government. Basically, we have to forecast how much wheat it needs for the next 10 years. So based on the population and the climatic conditions and whether nutrition of the particular area, whether the water resources, we have to tackle all these kind of structures. We taken the data from the satellite images, and then we analyze the image. We understand which area should grow which crop and what is the fertility level. Then we went into the crop cycle. If for 4 months, if they go for wheat, then they should move to parallels like that. So it's not just like it's a combination of people, because the overall world we are 50 contributors which we will collaborate with each other. It's like different regions, different people who expressing their ideas, and every person has their own way to express. It's a platform where they can showcase their talent, whether they can understand, learn so many things. I mean, like I may have very little knowledge when I compare to with 49 people in the group. So it's a benefit for me that I'm understanding, learning more in a short period of time and making grateful impact for the world. And as a community builder, my specific role is to promote Omena and drive the people who have any issues understanding the concepts in the group. So we communicate through Slack channels, and everything is online. We never met anyone, but Omena has started already. It's 3 years now. So it is, we never met each other, but the organization is still surviving. That's a way of concept in the organization. Till now, because of Corona, everyone has worked from home.
Yeah,
That's the reason that we already started it previous.
yeah, it was little cut. You can just go back, like, work from home, and just give me that one sentence from there, because it was cut. I can edit this part, okay?
Oh, uh, see, Omena already started like 3 years back, and which we
So
never
louder,
met any
louder,
one of our employees.
louder, louder. Yeah, it's not that. Sorry for it. Virtual world, bro. Sorry for it.
It's okay, it's fine. See, Omena has started like three years back, and whatever work we did is only from work from home. We never met any employee, anyone, but we communicated through online Slack channels, and we did really so many projects. Till now, we completed around 20 projects with so many like FBI, WHF, uh, Nepal government, and we have one project from CBI for gun control for Chicago State. So if you can see the present scenario where all the software is looking for work from home culture is already been adapted in our system way earlier ago. So it's a new challenge, but it's really amazing.
Yeah, there are ways in which organizations are coming into the pitch of what deep learning is all about, where everybody is giving their own approaches. They are solving different problem statement. But as a community, what's that kick or the thrill which the community got from the deep learning? What really made this as a key research thing for the community workflow? What's your feeling on that? What's your view on which is that thing which really made the community to just work on this field only? What is that?
Yeah, there are so many society problems like which they didn't got addressed. When you can compare the rich and poor, the percentage, only 10% of the total world has the most wealth, and where so many people are starving for food. So how you will solve them? So the present existing designs of the governments or the companies, the workflow, the money flow and all, right? How exactly we can improve it? So that is where it already started with its AI, which will give us intelligence how to manage our resources, how we can be helpful for total humankind, where we can distribute or we can learn, we can solve the problem. For example, climatic changes, increasing of so many avalanche breakdowns, how we will solve. So without the data, how we will understand what exactly it is causing it. So with normal structure, it takes so many years to understand the process. So then it actually started with why can't we use AI to understand and give a precise it may not be precise because AI is always probability calculations. But most of the work which we do is around 60 to 80% accurate, and we are completing within every 3 weeks. So it's reduces the time, the management, and the amount they have to involve, and the way the solution is giving right. How that is how exactly it started with AI. Should we use it to focus on social issues more than any profitable products and all. That's the main idea of Rudra. He's the CEO.
Yeah, not about let it be Omden or something, but everybody wants to go neuromorphic or edge these days. There are processors who are really taking an edge for neuromorphic chips these days. But I want your view on, can microprocessor or microcontroller literally be the brain tomorrow? I just want you to answer on that part.
I really wish it should be. Like we are not in that state. Um, you may have heard of Sophia, which is the first human robot, which called voter ID. It got citizenship for Dubai, right? So it is doing everything how human do. So definitely by seeing Sophia, how exactly they designed, definitely there is a way when a human normal microcontroller or any chip will replicate a human and do everything what we do in a more effective way.
Yeah, there are a lot of things where you should have had worked on a lot of problem statements. You told 20 projects, 20 plus actually, from Omdera and data semantics combined. There are a lot of things. Do you remember your first code which you actually coded when you, not even when you started your engineering career, also as a student or else an engineer? You can say me that.
Yeah, my first project I started with is a self-driving car, which is a way how to create a stimulation environment and understand, create the to train the deep learning model so that the car will drive on the lanes based on the vision, and if there is any red light or green based on the traffic rules, it should understand, it should move. It's a stimulation environment we have to create and we have to design that. That is I did it for KPTM company. As an intern there, and it went well, but there are so many things because when I say stimulation, it's I know how exactly the stimulation environment is, but when it comes to the real world, that's where the real problems will start.
What did you think of that code actually? What did you think of that code? Was it really up to the mark? It can be an first project which you actually did for your mini project also in the college. Can you just give that experience of working with that code?
um, at that age, I mean, when I started like 4 years back and all, that project, whatever I did, like when at the time when it is following, understanding the ways like lanes, traffic rules, going on left and right, and like it fascinated me basically. Like, wow, this is really great. Like, without driver, my car is just going on. I mean, I really like. I have so many challenges. Too. Whenever I train more hard, it will go into overfitting, underfitting. Sometimes it will misses the video because some of the times the lanes are not correct, accurate. So it needs to get the error correction and all. So it's a really, I don't say it's not up to the mark, but it is the only thing which drives me where I am now. Like that motivation, that experience, right? Because of that passion, I learn things.
I just want you to give the view on how has really the computers really changed the way in which robotics or the computer vision has to be. Probably you would have worked on DXC 100 probably in your projects or something, but I'm saying you an entire computer architecture's view. How has it really changed the performance of such intense application, compute intense application?
As for the computancy and all, basically, NVIDIA is really doing very great to support the hardware with software and compute the things. When software is just a data which it has to stream into the hardware, but where exact calculations are going on in the hardware. So with CUDA, with so many updates, so it is mixing it, and it is where exactly the sync between the hardware and software, which making it a parallel computancy and making it more aggressive and decreasing the time, increasing the efficiency and all. The architecture side, there is I don't I mean because of uh, edge cutting AI cloud, the streaming, the live streaming of the data is really improving because the processing pace should be very parallel, which should be on live, right? Uh, it's really, really improved a lot when compared to the architecture, the present one which we are using. But as on top of it, we have the security, everything, and admin logs where we are controlling who can view, who can, the privacy factors. And the present today's cloud or edge AI is really, really perfect. Like because it is protecting the data and utilizing the data, and it is improving every day. It's really perfect. I mean, if you look back before 5 years back, that is not the case. We didn't have that this kind of architecture of the systems to support the real time flow.
No, not about anything that is working on an hardware is not on software at all. Because everything, whether it's something like a small microcontroller, it needs code today. There are hexadecimal converters, everything stacked, but there are a lot of layers of computer architecture. There are a lot of ways in which abstraction has to happen in the computer architecture and also in the panel. What's the influence of computer vision today in computing? Like, how has it really given that improvement for the scientists to know that it's not the right hardware, just give me something else? What do you feel about the impact of computer vision on the hardware industry?
Because see, generally to process any computer vision algorithms in the deep learning or machine learning and whatever, it takes so much of resources to consume, to train himself, and to evolve, and to storage the weights, right? For example, if I'm the client, if I say I need a computer vision software which can detect my mobile, if I'm having a manufacturing industry and I manufacture around for like 1 lakh of my products, with computer vision, I have to check the detected defected pieces and correct pieces instead of doing manually. So the the amount, maybe previously the amount of time it took to understand itself maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. So it really pressured the hardware systems where because of from the client say this is not my best solution. I need a more effective way to understand it, which will solve my problem in a very shorter time. So that impacted the hardware system to improve it. So
you
that's
know
why we are here now. Like it's improving.
no that's
It's
where that's
because
where the
everything
real
is
that's where the research actually starts. That's where the
yes,
research
yes,
actually
yes.
starts. You start fighting with them virtually, or else in a way in which nobody gets hurt. That's where the research actually intends to happen. But I always had this one thing where hardware performance is okay, fine, to one extent, where they are decreasing the size, 3 nanometer technology is coming up, a lot of things are there. But measuring the accuracy of an model or an matrices, do you think it's a false, or are they just doing it for the hunger, or just the foolishness of an engineer? What's it all about? Because Turing gave out that every model has its own perks, but yet it is a model which can give you some sort of a result. But how are these really influential these days? Benchmarks, actually, benchmarks of machine learning models which we are seeing.
See, benchmarks are required for models. But they basically one is technical and one is you can say social. Okay, so when someone attend any exam or something, after you got the results, what you will ask? which grade you got, right? That's the first thing, right? Like it's common way. Like, so if you build a model, so what exactly, how you are going to metric, how you are going to evaluate a model, whatever we built, because of that metrics have came. But there is another reason, whether whether really, for example, before Usain Bolt, the maximum, no one thought that within 2 minutes will complete that many meters of ride at the world record. So he break that record. So benchmark is like we grow till this part, and from if you reach above this level, you will create your own benchmark. So benchmark suggests like till now we achieve this level, to that is where the new research should evolve to improve those benchmarks and make it even more adaptable.
You know, living all this adaptability is also fine, but there is a lot of things where even compute has a lot of mathematics today. Even if you just put a transistor on the one side of your system, there is millions of calculations. There are millions of calculations which goes on behind every system. But like, you know there are some canonical problems even today. Even though you do million calculations, there are a lot of glitches which the system goes. What are all those canonical problem statements that we have in computer vision and NLP? Because you have worked in both, I'm asking you both.
Sure. We can say, like, for example, if you take just my name, if you want to store my name, Sai Praveen, I will convert everything into zeros, which will be stored in the storage, right? This because every letter has a specific reference character, which by which it will do the matrix and which will create the vectorizers, and it will understand, then it will translate, or like it's like a reference. So what is the base of each word, right? That's the phase of NLP. Okay, when it's a case of see, when it's a same similar way for computer vision, to when you say any object, like I said, it's for child we can show A for apple, B for ball, we are like that, we are training them, right? So it will register this is this is that. So it's a process of training, like storing the memory, understanding what exactly the meaning and all. Okay, the present uh, you can say the future problems which will come across is like, today when I get any data for any problem statement, the first thing what I will do is pre-processing, right? Basically pre-processing is like, you can say this is not, I don't need this much of complexity in my data, to I want a clean one, right? So I'm filtering out and cleaning it so that I can utilize. But there are some there, but basically there are so many problem statements. When I remove the some of the data which is really crucial, is getting cleaned in this process. So I'm missing that information. um, I mean, like they will say they are uh, outliers and all, but that may not be the case in the real world. They may not be outliers. Maybe out of 1,000 is the only guy who is different, because he has different data for his own, for that unique row or the ID, right? But as for us, because of the total population, that guy is an outlier, but maybe he's outstanding. So, so basically, without filtering at all, without even cleansing or cleaning, can we use the raw data, how exactly it is, which will makes then train the model where it will understand the differences and variations and all, right? And because that is really happening because of when we convert all the data into zeros and ones, basically we are giving only two options, 0 or 1. But they can be, because the world exactly itself, if you know the quantumization of the computer, I will just say a few words. Everything in the world can be, is already in the form of quantum state. Basically what exactly it means, it can be 0 or it can be 1, it can be any of the number between 0 and 1, whichever we choose as is our our solution. For example, in simple ways, if I want to go from A to B point, I can go straight line, which is the shortest distance, or I can reroute in a different way. Like I can have an infinite number of ways to go from A to B, but which path I can choose is it should depend on me. But if I say only two ways, zero or one is shortest distance, one is longest distance, it only chooses one of them. But in real world cases, that is not the scenario. Like understood, right? So the data itself, whatever we are processing it, is not a quantumized data. We're cleansing. Because of this cleaning, we are removing some of it. It won't affect all the problem statements, but at some specific problem station, it is really crucial to keep those data and also train them. That is where we have to convert the data from normal classical computer to a quantumized data, then train the models based on that. That will really solve so much of problems with a better and way more accurate.
Yeah, when you told about cleansing data, just using it as raw might not work, but these benchmarks can really give you a lot of insights behind it. But I want to literally know the reason behind this. Even if you run the same program with the same data set hundreds of times, the matrices differ. Probably 98.9%, 99.99%, 99%, 99.1%. Matrices keeps changing. Even though you run it on the same one, even though you run it on different one for a different number of times. Yes, there are a lot of ways in which deep learning has never been demystified also today. What's your view on this canonical problem that we are still facing? Not problem statement, we are facing it.
Yeah, that is truth. Actually, that is a fact, right? Because we basically we use seeding to regulate the understanding of the training. Like what we will give is like we will confirm, we will specify the data, like and so this is the number of epochs. This is how you should do. Like that, we will give some regulation so that it will behave in a similar way for all the use cases. But it's never been like if I train once, if I take one data set, it one time it will give 90, and then again this for the same data set, it can give 88 or it can give 92, something like that. The main reason behind this is like you can say uh, like a human being. It's simple. So I compare a lot with so that it will be very simplified, right? If I want to write any exam, I'm taking a certificate exam. I prepared myself. I wrote it. For example, I got 80%, 80 marks, and again I want to write it back. Whether I will get 79 or 85, I won't get 80, right? I may get 80, but the probability of getting 80 is very less, right? The marks will change because I understood something where I was wrong or I was right. Like that, the AI, when the neurons are neutralizing their, when they're creating the weights, basically weights is like how exact it is the decision making uh, numbers, which one we should choose. So that states will change every time you train. So it never be the same if you train on the same data again or again, because every time there will be always opportunity to learn. Till you complete it as 100%, it always change. If you achieve that 100%, then it never changes.
There is a lot of ways in which computer vision has really influenced in my life also, and your life obviously, because you told the computer vision was the kickstarter for my career. Fine. But like, building computer, building a team, you're a community manager now, you should have had faced ego problem and lot of people. And also you should have had means indulged with a lot of people with different mentalities now. Now I just want you to give your view on building a computer program or an hardware, and also building a proper team for solving a problem. What's your approach in these two?
Okay. See, basically, it's like you can say uh, just creating a computer vision or the model on for myself will be different than rather than training a team, right? Because each member will have their individual perspective and it should match with me, or he may have a different approach which he should communicate with, where the main thing which required for it to build a team is communication.
Yes, I agree
instead
with
of
you. I agree with
managing
you.
in, Instead of managing, right, I won't say how to manage a team, I will say how to collaborate with a team. So they can express their views, I can express their views, exchange the knowledge and improve it. So building a team takes some time rather than building computer vision or the NLP model. But after some time, if you build a proper team, it will be more efficient than the model which I created.
Yeah.
Well, like to get effective results, it takes some time, right?
I just want to ask you this one question where experience is making a little bit more sense now, because I think you should have had faced these kinds of problem where you yourself had felt, okay, this could have had solved in 5 minutes, but it took me a longer time. These things happen when you're in a lot of stress in your community work, or in stress with your daily work, which is not a kind of a routine one. When you are a machine learning engineer, you will be having a lot and lot of new things which will be coming up, whether it's a new frame, as you told, you are still waiting for GPT-3 to come in hand of you to start working, kind of like, how do you actually feel during those time, when you felt, okay, this could have been done in 5 minutes, but it took me a longer time? What is there any experience of such sort?
Definitely will come across these things in date. It's a part of the life, right? Like you can say because of this work from home culture and all, um, there may be like the number of meetings we are attending has increased rapidly. Like total whole day, 70% of the time is only on calls, but we have very less time to work. And at the time when the client says tomorrow is our deadline, like you feel that pressure to solve the tiniest problem which will influence us and which will take so much time to actually do. So because of these external factors and all, yeah, I really faced a lot. I mean, a lot, like because of the this work culture of the number of meetings, I'm really doing my work, the efficiency, it decreases when it compares to any office environment. I really had so many, but it's the part of life, so
anyone
she'll
anyone
adapt.
where anyone you where you
Mm.
really felt, okay, this shouldn't be done by any person who is experienced of your who has an experience of your like 6 years in ML, AI, and every all fields which you have seen, right? This shouldn't be done. Any one particular one?
Particular, okay. Basically, I'm as of now working for some NLP where it has to extract, translate from the Arabic to the English from a PDF. We need to do the OCR on top of it. Later, then we have to translate and then we have to process it to the Oracle DB. That is a flow of exactly should go. The minus mistake which I did was I didn't change the endpoint uh, for calling the API, which it just I have to say enable is equal to true. It's in false. So I really don't know which got wrong in the total flow. I'm checking each and every line. Oh my god, tomorrow is my deadline. How should I finish it? Finish it like that. Like when I created it, I thought that when I created the code, I thought we can, as of now, we can say it false. Later, I can enable it to true. I thought, I mean, I really forgot it. I changed it to false. Then it took me around 4 to 5 hours to understand, identify the problem. Then I changed, and thank God it worked.
Yeah,
Well, there are minute things which will really influence us sometimes.
yeah, those minute things, coming back to the edge, right? there is a lot of ways in which TF-Lite, TinyML has really got that influence in the industry now. Edge is the new money. It's not the cloud computing, it's not the actual deep learning hardware that you are actually building. What do you feel about TF-Lite and TinyML in the future? What can they really be? Can they be the new TensorFlow for the researchers, or else, of course, it's a big thing today, but what can it be tomorrow?
Uh, in tomorrow, if you say how exactly they may evolve, for example, to build a proper translator engine or a proper self-driving car engine, I need a proper laptop, RAM, GPU, and everything where I have to do coding for around like 1 day or 2 days, then train it, then understand it. That's the way now it is going on. If this TF of mobile data has been improved a lot, I don't need all my computer. I just need my mobile from where I can train the data and analyze it on my phone itself. Like it is like instead of carrying a big laptops or having a big servers or in a warehouses in the back and which is running these processes and all, because of this edge I can communicate from my mobile, which will run the background in the architecture and through us and send us the results to my mobile within very short span of time, which really saves a lot of time, very handy, like the way how you are doing now Zoom call, right? So you are in some place, I'm in some place, but communicating. So the way it will improve, but it takes time to evolve to the stage.
You told that your first project was on a computer vision based self driving car. I think you can give a pretty big explanation for it. I think so because you have worked, because that was where your career really took as an intern. You have seen that field from an intern's view and also as a professional. Oh, what's your view on Tesla using its FSD computer for new way of fully self-driving car architecture as an hardware? And also, I want you to comment on the self-driving cars running on an edge-based edge computing aspects. Kind of. What's your view on all these new disruption which industry has seen in the 21st century?
Yeah, as for the Tesla, he's very great guy. Like they are making so much of progress in this field, uh, in this area because they got recently launched their manufacturing industry in China, which they approved. Elon Musk is very intelligent guy. Like he's very energetic every time. This is one of the incidents which I had heard in the news. Like he didn't slept. He just stayed in the manufacturing unit and worked to complete a solution for 4 days. He didn't had anything food or something. He just sleeping on the same sofa and doing everything, working, making the robots to automate the task and all. That's the way how it is, how he drives himself and the company. And as per the edge and the new hardware for the Tesla which is introducing, it will definitely change the course of action to the rest of the companies, because BMW or Rolls Royce, like they're the top, Lamborghini or Porsche. Like generally when you comes to cars, this is a luxury they built. But when you add AI, it's a new kind of style, new way, which the other companies will compete with each other. So it generally, what exactly it will do is it will force the other brands to follow the same and implement those solutions in their designs. And as for edging and all, when I say driverless car and computer vision, the main, even now it didn't got solved. The main problem in this solution is like, when I say computer vision, it always understand any image in a two-day way. It whatever even if you give any image, if even it's 3D, it will initially convert every aspect into a 2D, then it will learn. Even today's deep learning algorithms, they always view the whole uh, world in a 2D space. Even they have so many LIDAR sensors which sense the data and replicate. So or from around 360 degrees level. But when it comes to the learning of an algorithm, it is still in a two-dimensional. I hope somewhere it will improve with the 3D, so the efficiency will improve. Edge AI is really needed in self-driving cars because it is not just computer vision. They need reinforcement learning along with it, because when we develop the program, we can't analyze all the environmental environments with us. Like they may, when I'm driving a car, a sudden dog will come to my up to front of my car, or there is another car which is coming from the backside, a train is coming, or something like the some of the sims. We understand most of the simulations and environment, then we design the code. But when it comes to the real time, it never been the same, right? So for that, they need a reinforcement learning to have the memory and grow itself. So to improve the, like, um, if a train is coming at 160 speed, and when I'm driving at 60, if I'm in the on the when I have to cross the rail gate, so it should take the decision at the right moment. It should not delay. I mean, I may grasp the information, but the response time should be very short to make it understand, and the car should go away from it, right? So that quick response is only be given by edge AI solutions. It should be very short, and it should understand. It should respond very fast.
You told about edge, everything is fine, but I have this question where what is the kind of an API that we need to build in order to survive in edge and to build an AGI? APIs are so heavy, these days,
Yeah, it's
you're
very.
yeah, it's very heavy. Leaving all that, we just leave all that heavy, every all the factors which is actually building us into this constraint. What is that kind of an API which we need to still build in order to get the edge deployment faster, and also an AGI, artificial general intelligence?
Then intelligence. As for the API, we can say, right, as of now, till we are only using the HTTP protocols for any API. I mean, it is a basic LAN or protocol communication system, which was built around 30 years back, a protocol. So what is the sending layer, what is the receiving layer, where is transport, so from which channel it should communicate. So everything, it's HTTP protocols, right? I mean, they're improving the protocols, but as of for any API, now we are really being built, it can be REST API, normal API. It always you can say follow these procedures, like who is the sender, who is the receiver. Before sending, there will be a transmitter, encoder, decoder, right? So to fasten the process, they need to change the framework itself, right? I mean, without changing the protocol, it cannot be, like you can say the difference between 4G and the 5G. The main difference is the protocol, the bandwidth they are using. The shorter, even with the shorter bandwidth, they should able to process all the signals in the specific area and improve the speed. So because how the main difference is that they change the protocol itself. So that way, if they change the API protocol from HTTP to something else, it will really improve. So I'm just waiting for it to change.
We
For
all are
for a,
waiting. Yeah. For ages we have been playing REST APIs and a lot of things. I just want you to, I just want you to answer this one question where what's that approach in order to build an AGI system? You have worked in ML and CV for quite a while now. So I just want to ask you this question. What's that way of getting an AGI into the deployment today? And also what can it answer as an AGI?
uh, I will say, see, the perfect example for AGI is human brain, because it does computer vision. Human brain will do computer vision. human brain will do NLP, human brain will do reinforcement learning. It will have the logical thinking, it will do transfer learning, and it will also have the memory which passed from previous generations to the DNA, right? So this information, this structure, this complexity structure is a perfect example for AGI in real world. But to build a AGI system with the present technology, it's really hard to say, because what because whatever the, for example, if I build a computer vision model, it won't know NLP. If I build an NLP model, it won't know computer vision. If I want to combine both, as of now, there is no, I can say, platform where I can integrate my both solutions of computer vision and NLP into a single one. There are so many researches in the process, but we didn't achieve that level. So to build AGI, when you say robotics is a different concept where we have the human architecture. We know the like rotation, it is 90 or 60. We know the mechanism, which is when like if you can say any AGI or something. When I say like my brain should be, whatever the I'm thinking, my body also should be capable of doing it, right? So it's like both hardware and the software. My brain, if you say, is a software, my body is my hardware. So even I have so much of capacity, my body should be able to sync par with my intelligence, right? So we don't have that kind of hardware till now. If we can achieve that level, AGI is possible, but
Yeah,
it takes so much time.
it is going to take time. It is going to take
Yes,
time. It's not
yes.
that, you know, last question, we have been in LP for quite a while now. And I just want you to answer this one question. Will really an ML system or an AI based AGI or a conversation bot or anything really can make sure that we are not lonely? Can it really abolish the loneliness which any human is facing? Also, and also, I want you to say your views on Replica, which is an online bot, a partner actually, and virtual partner which you can have. What do you feel about these kind of technologies which are coming up?
I will just say in very, very few ways. Uh, when I say any information, the information is which we already gathered. All the AI systems or ML systems, whatever it can be, any language in the computer, any language, it's whatever we do, we operate on information, right? It is not emotion. Even we build chatbots, or we may build Sophia, everything, right? It's running because they understand the information which we are giving. It understood the concepts. It doesn't mean it have emotions. So to understand the concepts, human brain have like you can say 6 types of methods: Anubhava, Upalabdhi, Anupalabdhi. Like this comes from Rig Veda, where it exactly confirms how a human brain will understand a knowledge. So understanding information is different than how exactly you are feeling relates with how you are exactly responding, right? For example, like you can say if I want to have a chai, when I'm drinking the chai, I want the chai, but I don't feel it's good. Maybe sugar is less or more or something like that. Feeling the sensor, that part has still not at coming at came into the uh, electronic communication devices, and I don't know, basically. I don't know the answer whether they will come in future or not. But as per the present scenarios, that is the main difference. Like when you're processing an information, understanding information, it only relates specific to the data we have. But when you say emotions, it doesn't, we didn't, the present science didn't achieve to that level.
You told about Rig Veda. Sorry for saying that as the last question because I don't want to end this podcast so early. Sorry for it. You talked about Rig Veda and everything, right? What's that influence that early text can bring on machine learning or data science system? I know this is not in the questionnaire which I actually give you as a draft, but
It's okay. It's okay.
I just want you to answer that one.
One second. Once more, please.
Yeah,
Just
bro.
got
Yeah,
it out.
fine, fine. Yeah, like I can repeat the question.
Yes, yes, yes.
You told about the Rig Veda and all these things, right? Can you say what's that influence that this technology can have from our holy text? What it can be?
Uh, for example, if you say um, the what is the when you say the level of a human brain, it depends on individual, right? So it's we can say it's a self awareness. So uh, in the past, because of the philosophical way they understand, they realize this process of self awareness and achieve that level. But I don't say, I mean, I'm pure scientific guy. I'm not following any of the religions, but my main curious question is like to understand what exactly they learned. That is where I started looking into these kind of structures, like what exactly they mean, whether they're saying correct or whether they're feeling false. Like it's like hypothesis. Like I just want to interrogate, but intervene their way of ideas, whether it can be done or not done. That is where, I mean, that is one of the curious part I do have in my regular habits. Whether these can, how they influence, you can say, um, we before they invented the telescope or astronomical this one, they already given us the zodiac signs, their locations, and they given the constellations, and they say the astrology. This is this and that. Like I mean, whether it's true or not, it's another fact. But they know without any mission, they don't have any things to see, but information is already there in the words, right? They don't have any telescope to see, but they already written like 12 zodiac signs are there. I mean, the way they narrate the story is different, but the information they provided there is really, it's real. So that is like the architecture. I mean that information, how they really know it, even without these things which we are having now. So that is where my curiosity more, and how exactly they will contribute. I I don't know. Like how to see. I mean that is the motivation of my life to really understand these things,
Yeah, you
which
know,
it generally drives me.
yeah, when you really told about all these, I really wanted to ask you this one question. Why I skipped it, it's because you already had answered it. There is good and bad, worst and the worst. There are a lot of experiences which really really shakes up a man. It can be an father who is an alcoholic. I was talking to one of the person today. I hope he sees this podcast, and I think he might feel proud. He told that I just want my family to be happy. Every day it should be filled with joy. Every day it should be filled with passion. That's the experience which he had in life. That's the experience which he had in life. But there are a lot of things, man. If you want to say this is good, there is some traits in which you are taking. If you want to say this is bad, there is some traits which are happening. But this data tagging, wrangling, cleansing the data, you had answered it, but can really a machine think of analyzing data in the real time as an baby? tomorrow, if you just build a system, let's say a Jetson Nano as an AGI system, can they really behave like a human being? That's what I'm asking you all about. You can give an example of anything, like you gave an example of Rig Veda. You can give anything from what your experience says.
So when you're talking about the consequence of any action, I mean it is a good deed or a bad deed. So it depends on the society. For example, if you can say from in like when like having a Western culture is different in India, and the way we do the regulations are we follow the religious practices here will be different from each country to each religion or region. When we say deeds, they are specific to location and time. They always change, right? Sometimes, for example, you can say when for example, if I'm in intermediate or BTech, they can say like smoking is injurious to health, it's not good for children, or chocolates are injurious to small people. So after that, are you stopping eating chocolates? No, right? So basically, that when you say deeds, it comes with time and the area. They're bound to it. If the time changes or the area changes, the same rules won't be applicable, right? So these are like you can say they're socializing socialistic status which form where we are in a specific region. Like most of the people follow them. So if you follow something else, so they treat you are different from them, right? So it's like if you went to a Rome, you should be act as Roman, right? So like deeds will always come in that specific area. When I say AI in this kind of scenario, it never have it. I am sure it won't have the deeds, because if any AI system have the deeds, then the system itself is compromised. You can say it is underfitting, or there is so much bias in the system, right? It is following some people, it is not following everyone, right? So that is a biasing. So if a system itself has a biasing, then it is not a good fit, it is not a good output. So as per the AI, these deeds won't should not matter anytime.
Sai, bro, I'm extremely happy today. It's not about your experience which got me here. It's not about community building, what you had actually been doing got me here, or it can be anything. But I think last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever we have talked, I think probably I'm going to give it second thought to it, because I was following an professor called as Professor B Mahadevan from IIM Bangalore. His main research is in doing how the management is getting influenced from all these holy texts. There is a link. I can link the TEDx talk which he has given also. Amazing one. After you saying that, I'm going to give this insight once in my life. How can these can be really influential in getting the actual AGI? At least let's just forget the AGI also. How can it really build a sustainable AI system which can really learn something new, or something which can be helpful in medicine or data science or NLP? It was amazing talking to you. Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, first. Like I'm really happy that I got the chance and having this face to face. And for very again, very happy New Year, and stay safe, stay healthy, do sunrise every time.